Hello and welcome to Behind the Story. I'm your host, Eli Sherman. I'm here with my co-host, Kim Kalunian of 12 News. Kim, how are we doing today?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm good. I'm very excited. We have a very special guest today that we're going to be chatting with, and we're going to get into all sorts of things about local newspapers and local government and transparency. Those are all our favorite topics.
They really are. And this is a guest that both of us have known for quite some time in different capacities. So it'll be interesting to hear her take on being on different sides of the table in this industry.
It's a great point. And without further ado, we will bring in our guest, Joy Fox, publisher of I'm going to mess this up, of the Beacon Media. You had me in the head because the name had changed. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be with both of you.
It's great to have you here.
Thanks.
So we're going to get into a lot of different things on the local side that you're looking at in your communities. But I thought to start, you've had just a fascinating career that has been on different sides of both media and government. And so just to start, can you tell us what your first job was way back in high school?
Sure. My first job was at Beacon Communications at the time. I went to Bayview, St. Mary's Academy, Bayview in East Providence, and our senior year we had a program called Community Classroom, and you had to go out and find a job. And Sister Susan, thank you very much, Sister Susan, gave me an index card and said, "Here, call this guy." And this guy was John Howell. And I gave him a call, and the rest is history, so to speak. I then went on to Rhode Island College and worked at that college paper. And after college, did get a job in more of a corporate media setting and didn't care for it very much. So called John Howell up again, and as Kim can attest, he said, "Why don't you write? Why don't you?" And then before you know it, you're the editor of the Cranston Herald. So my reporting career was short, but it was bookended by both 9/11 and the station nightclub fire. So those are the two things that, if you ask me what my memories are most from that, it is covering those two pretty difficult events in our communities.
Absolutely. And I know after that you transitioned into communications in government. I remember coming to work at the Warwick Beacon and hearing your name before I had met you. I'm just going to tell this little story because I remember everyone talking about Joy Fox, and all of the things that she had done. And in my mind, I was envisioning someone who was maybe double or even triple your age at the time. And then I met you and I was like, how has she done so much so soon? But talk me through sort of how you transitioned out of writing and editing into media relations, potentially most notably under Treasurer and then Governor Gina Raimondo, and then you decided to get into politics yourself. So how did that all go?
That's a lot.
It's a lot, I know.
Yes, I'm still only really 25, so
there you go.
Actually, my first job, so after leaving the Cranston Herald, I did go to Providence Business News, which I think maybe, Eli, you had a stop there as well.
Yeah.
And was also weekend nights on the desk at WJAR, sorry.
That's right, I forgot about that.
We knew there was a Channel 10 connection, but we weren't exactly sure how
weekend
it
nights
was.
on the desk, which was amazing and had a lot of fun there. But then I went to prison, so that was the first time I jumped.
We should clarify that you worked as the communications or the spokesperson for the Department of Corrections.
Yes, the Rhode Island Department of Corrections. I worked for A.T. Wall, who was an amazing person and incredible leader. Was a tremendous mix and understanding of criminal justice and social justice. He had this really interesting, philosophy. There's a no refusal policy. Whoever the courts send, we have to help, but also the recognition that everyone has to go home. So what are we doing to prepare people for that transition as well? That is also probably where I earned my crisis communication stripes and dealing with different issues that would arise there. And from there, I went to go work with Congressman Jim Langevin, doing communications both in Rhode Island and in Washington, D.C. And then you're right, Kim, I ended up with then Treasurer Raimondo, went over on to her first campaign, ran her transition into the governor's office, and then was in the governor's office for a time.
I remember coming to Rhode Island. I actually came to Rhode Island just as you and then Governor Raimondo were transitioning into office. So that was the first time that I got to know you, was actually coming into the governor's office, and I was like, oh, no, career comms person, but you had all these different hats.
I know.
And you were probably like, who's this rinky-dink
Pretty
reporter
much,
coming
no.
in? Yeah. But I'm curious about that, with that career path of being in newspapers, getting into comms, doing a lot of different types of comms in government. Then, of course, you ran for Congress as well. And I'm wondering how wearing all those different hats, having those different experiences now help inform how you think about news as a publisher and the business of media.
It's an interesting question. And what I keep coming back to is we both need each other. From the government perspective, there's important work, there's good work, and from the press perspective, it's important that you all keep us to account and hold that side of the fence to the standards that we all expect from our government and our elected officials. So I think that the role can be adversarial at times, but it shouldn't be, and that shouldn't be the norm. I think now maybe sometimes it is the norm and folks don't get that tension of that relationship, but the fact of the matter is we need to be able to tell stories. You guys need to be able to tell stories about what's happening in the community. And likewise, we need good people on the other side who are there to explain things. I mean, just everything that we just came out of with the SNAP benefits, for example. Mm-hmm. Yes, that was something that was happening in Washington, but we all know it was happening right here in our backyards with people, and how that benefit and that lack of benefit was affecting their lives. And it was incumbent upon all of us, government, nonprofit organizations, the news media, to get that message out. So I've taken the responsibility, I think, on both sides of that fence very seriously.
And what made you ultimately decide, because we had John Howell in here for our inaugural episode, what made you decide, I'm going to take this paper over? I mean, he had been at the helm for decades. You obviously had started there as a cub reporter. What made you say, I'm going to do this thing?
Well, it wasn't as quick as you just made it sound.
Okay. In the interest of time, I'm summarizing.
Right. We've remained in touch, as many of us have, with John, and the conversation just evolved. You're right, I did run for office, and the day after the primary, I did get a call, and he said, "So you're ready?" And I said, "I think I just did a big thing, so maybe I should take a breath here." But the more we would meet, and we went out to a lot of breakfast and had a lot of conversations, and it just felt right. My whole career has been based in Rhode Island primarily, and I do it because I love where I live. And this was something that felt like another way to give back to the community. And we also can't let these local papers go away. And I feel a deep responsibility to that. And I think I speak for our entire team at Beacon Media that everyone there also feels that same responsibility, whether or not they're at the front desk or in the business office, production, sales, and of course our editorial team.
I want to ask you about that, and we have to take a break in about a minute, but I'm just curious, you came in, you took over the organization, and obviously you know the national trends. Local newspapers are in decline. The number of jobs have been reducing for a long time, and those are all very scary. I imagine that was kind of a scary thing coming in for that job. How do you feel about the stability of the organization now and in the long term?
I will say, once we dug into the books and the numbers and really started getting our hands around it, it's a lot stronger than we thought it was going to be. So that's exciting. And I would say don't count us out, because I believe that the trends right now are actually coming squarely over local news. People really want to know what is happening at their city hall, what is happening in their schools, and what's happening next door. I mean, the back to the SNAP benefits, one of the most heartwarming stories we all just got to cover were all the food drives and the scouts running around the neighborhoods and them sending in tallies to us over text, and we got 2 tons of food and 3 tons of, that's what makes it important. It is covering the things that people need to know. I say eat their vegetables, right? Cover City Hall, but then they can have all the fun and learn about all the fun in the community as well.
Great. All right, well, we have to take a quick break, and that was a nice segue because we'll be coming back to talk about transparency in government. Stick with us. Hello, and welcome back to Behind the Story. I'm your host, Eli Sherman, alongside my co-host, Kim Kalunian of 12 News, and our guest this week is Joy Fox, publisher of Beacon Media. Joy, I thought that it might be helpful just to tell our viewers all of the different publications that are under the umbrella of Beacon Media.
Sure. We have the Warwick Beacon, the Cranston Herald, the Johnston Sunrise, and a weekly shopping guide called The Reminder, which is primarily in Coventry and West Warwick. Eventually, I'd love to be able to have enough revenue to probably add some news to that publication as well. And then interestingly, we also are the sales hub for the Rhode Island Newspaper Group. And that is an advertising consortium that covers the Valley Breeze, East Bay Papers, Newport This Week, Jamestown Press, and The Independent in South Kingstown and North Kingstown. So we all work together on the advertising side, which is also pretty exciting.
Great. And I imagine that a lot of those communities are also reading, even if they're not from Johnston or Warwick or Cranston, they're probably picking up that publication because it's all affecting nearby communities as well.
Yes.
I want to talk to you about something that's happening in Cranston.
Sure.
And this is very much, you've got your publisher hat on here.
I do.
Because a counselor has proposed the idea of ending a rule or a city ordinance that requires them to post public meetings in local newspapers. And this is something that is very common in communities across the country, not just here, but it is different, I think, community to community. There's a statewide rule around open meetings, but the advertising, I think, is a local decision. And so can you tell me a little bit about what's been going on in Cranston? Because it seems to be taking up some, if not a lot, of your time.
Yes, thanks for the question. Well, first I will say, to get the full details, you can read the Cranston Herald.
Good sell.
We've been covering it for probably about 4 weeks now. And the interesting thing is, it came to our attention via a legal ad. And it came from the city of Cranston, the city clerk's office. And our production department said, oh, you may want to take a look at this legal ad. And so I did. And I said, oh, I wonder where this came from, and made a call and was told that the city clerk said, we're just realigning things, our ordinances to match our city charter because the voters decided in 2022 to make this change. And we were on deadline. We were only a couple hours away. And I thought to myself, well, if the voters, we respect the outcomes of elections. and I thought to myself, if the voters decided on this, then what should I write a publisher's note? What should I do here? And ultimately I decided, look, this feels like a slippery slope. And I should at least put it out there that while we respect the outcomes of elections, it's unfortunate when voters sometimes vote against self-interest in terms of transparency. So that letter went in, and within a couple days, I got a call from the head of the Charter Commission who said, what are you talking about? That never happened. And I said, what do you mean? What am I talking about? And that started our own digging. And I read all the Charter Commission minutes and looked at other sources as well, and including going to the Board of Elections and getting the handbook. And there was no question on the ballot. So we still have a little bit of a mystery on our hands on how someone could have misinterpreted all of this stuff. And to be clear, it is advertising special council meetings in the paper of record, the typical language.
Which would be the Herald in this case.
In this case, yes. Although the Providence Journal is still there. I mean, you could do both or either. And the argument was, well, you're a weekly, so special meetings, sometimes they come up fast and your deadlines. So that opened the door to a conversation of, but we're online and we can move pretty quickly. Case in point are obituaries. So as obituaries come in, they go automatically up online and then they run in the next print edition. So there's ways that we can use technology. We can just spread the word that because it's newspapers, but we do have an online presence as well. So fast forward to this council meeting this past Monday night. I spoke at the ordinance committee meeting to raise the question on transparency, but also to say, hey, you have this city clerk comment about the city charter, and that feels a little, what are we doing with the city charter? And then went to the full council meeting as well and made that same case and statement. Ultimately, the ordinance has been tabled and is sent back to the ordinance committee. I feel pretty good that there will be a resolution where transparency of some sort, including advertising, print or online, will come to pass. The Cranston City Council has been open to conversations and reading along with our readers as well. But to me, this never would have come to light if we didn't on that first deadline day say, oof, the slippery slope, that, we should be increasing transparency now more than ever. And had we not taken the step to do the publisher's note, And then, case in point, no one reads local news anymore. That's not true. A reader read it and said,
Hang on.
exactly.
Yeah.
So to me, there's no better example of the need and the value that we provide to the community.
Well, let me ask you, just because, I think someone listening to this would think we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that also is a source of revenue
Correct.
for you, right? And
Correct.
you mentioned this in your editorial
Correct.
that you wrote for the paper, that this is actually something that the city has to pay to the Herald in order to advertise these meetings. And so, what do you say to someone who says, well, you're calling this transparency, but really this is a revenue source? Isn't that where your interest lies?
Look, yes, we are for-profit news, and ads are what sustain our ability to cover. In this case, you're right, I did outline it, full disclosure. Yes, there are legal ads. They are at a much reduced rate because we believe it is also a public service. I am confident to say the Cranston Herald won't go out of business over legal ads.
That's good.
But to me, so that was noted, and that was important to share. And I shared it in my conversations and testimony before the ordinance committee and the city council. To me, the larger issue is we should be increasing transparency and the ease of it for people to access information. And I kind of still have just a regular old news question on where did the idea on that this had anything to do with a vote from the city, from the Cranston voters to push this forward. So we do have an APRA request in right now to get pertinent information. Don't take that away from me, Eli.
Public records request for people who don't know what
let you
APRA is.
Sorry,
Yes.
public records request.
We are still
Don't go
competitive.
after it. Exactly. No, I'm kidding. But that raises another point. We are much smaller than we used to be. When I started as a reporter, there was a West Bay Bureau, and that was our competition. In stories like this in particular, safety in numbers matters. It matters when there are more than just the Cranston Herald in the room asking questions. It matters when there's more than just Channel 12 in the room. And that's why I think it's imperative to keep our local news system sustainable and moving, both television, print, radio, public media, you name it. And I think too, because we feel our industry changing, we kind of have a camaraderie that didn't necessarily exist when we all started out. But now you see more
A little
collaboration.
bit more of a blood sport, probably.
Yes,
15,
and there's
20
still
years
that.
ago. There is
still that. Because we all like the competition.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we all recognize to get through this moment together and to be able to provide trusted, reliable source of news, we really do need to work together a little bit more.
Okay. Well, we could talk to you all day long.
All day.
We feel that way after all of these conversations
Yes.
because they're just fascinating and we love talking about news. So, but we have to take another quick break. Joy Fox, thank you so much for joining us on Behind the Story.
Thank you for having me.
When we come back, the stories we wish we wrote. Stick with us. Hello and welcome back to Behind the Story. I'm your host, Eli Sherman, joined by my co-host, Kim Kalunian of 12 News. Kim, for much of the last year, I've been working on a project about a former mob boss who's now dead named Luigi Minacchio. And it's a docu-series, it's a 4-part series, and it's going to drop on Monday. And Kim thought that it would be a good idea to talk about that during this show. But the thing is, you're going to hear a lot about it, and you're going to see a lot of promotions about it. In fact, you might have seen one just before this break. So we're not going to talk about that. Instead, with Thanksgiving coming up, we're actually going to talk about Kim, because Kim was on the road show.
Wait a second, you swindled me. We
And she
literally just
is
discussed
an
this in break.
incredible chef.
I'm leaving.
And
I'm
yearly
quitting.
she does different recipes and teaches people how to make great dishes. So we're going to play a clip
about
from
this.
her on the road show instead. Take a listen.
Kitchen chef Kim Kalunian is here. It says it right there.
It says it on the sign. It
says
must be
right-
true.
It's got to be true. We've got applesauce cake with warm cinnamon caramel on the menu today. It looks fantastic, first of all.
Thank you. I might have overdone it a little heavy-handed on the pour.
I don't think there's anything overdoing it with the caramel.
Amen. Amen to that.
That's just me. That is just me. So tell everybody what they kind of need to put this together. And
Yes.
I know you said you went out and bought yourself a new bundt cake.
Yeah, because the pan is really doing all the work for me. I'm not a cake decorator. I'm not a professional.
Yep.
So this is really great if you have a nice looking bundt pan, a little powdered sugar, and it's going to be a beautiful Thanksgiving centerpiece.
I thought it looked beautiful. It really does look beautiful. Looks beautiful to me.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
All right, so what do we need to
simple.
do? Can I mix
Yes.
some stuff?
So I'm going to have you add the oil and the sugars to the bowl.
Everything's going in. Right?
Everything's going in. This is the beauty of this recipe, Will. It's really like low input and then high yield. You tricked me. You're a trickster. Full recipe on WPRI.com.
That's the good stuff. Well, is this like the dish that you're most excited about for Thanksgiving?
I mean, I'm a pie girl. I really do just love a traditional like pumpkin or pecan pie, so I'm definitely making those. This might make an appearance. I will say, though, you are a chef and a baker as well. You do some really creative stuff in the kitchen, so you should be on the road show next.
Yeah, maybe they'll have me on one
Yeah.
year, but that would be
PSA.
a serious downgrade from Chef Kim.
Oh, stop. I can't believe you just did
I actually just had a Friendsgiving this past weekend and cooked like from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. It was a lot of fun.
Are you hosting Thanksgiving this year?
No, I'm going to my brother's, but
Okay.
I really do enjoy cooking, and I think Thanksgiving is the best holiday because of that, because
Right.
what's better than just spending the day in the kitchen?
That's all about cooking and eating and hanging out and relaxing. Hopefully relaxing. I know some people get stressed out by the holiday, but
People
you're a
can
trickster.
check out that full segment on the Roadshow's website, also on our website for the full recipe. We would be remiss, though, if we didn't at least talk about one story that we wish we
Yes.
wrote. And my shout out this week is to Corey Plant of
Mm.
the Valley Breeze. He did just a great story on a peculiar story. We are switching gears hard from
Yes, we are.
Thanksgiving here.
Yes.
This is a mysterious death in Woonsocket. A man died. The official account of it is that it was an accidental death, but his family and many people on social media are claiming that it couldn't be an accidental death. And so there is this serious disagreement as they're waiting for is it the cause of death from the medical examiner? Is that the next
the
step?
cause and manner,
Yeah, the cause and manner. So, but Corey did a good job sort of interweaving those different ideas and opinions as to what happened.
Yeah, it's certainly sparking a lot of questions and debate, this story.
Yeah.
And I will just say, to get back to the original point that you made at the top of this block, be sure to check out, is it called The Last Dawn?
The Last Dawn of Providence.
The Last Dawn of Providence. I've gotten a sneak peek. It's incredible.
Yeah, that drops Monday. But that is all the time that we have for this week. We thank you, as always, for watching. If you want to catch this episode or any other episode, you can go to our website, WPRI.com. They're also on YouTube. This is also now a podcast, so you can take us on the road. So download that wherever you get your podcast. And but that's it for now. For Kim Kalunian, I'm Eli Sherman. Thank you for watching Behind the Story.